Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Waypoint. You may notice that there is no gameplay today. My apologies. Well, I played so much Final Fantasy XIV this week that I forgot to record the Weekly Waypoint. If that's, what you want to hear. It's the truth, plain and simple. Not many people watch these videos anyway. I'm pretty much talking to my future self. Every now and again I'll be like, what was I doing a year or two ago this very week, So hello, future Christian. This is the week where you forgot to record any gameplay. And people watching. I'm not going to pretend there's nobody watching. I do appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for watching. So yeah, I'm obviously going to talk about Final Fantasy XIV today. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but I do think I can talk about why Shadowbringers lives up to the hype without spoiling anything. The first thing a lot of new players hear upon starting the game for the first time is that, oh, it's amazing, but you just have to get through A Realm Reborn first. And I want to push back against that a little bit, because I think A Realm Reborn is fine. I think A Realm Reborn is good. I would go so far as to say I think A Realm Reborn is great, at least in places. It does get a little boring at points, but for just like an alternative MMO experience, I think it's got enough to keep a lot of people hooked for the first 50 levels. After hitting the 4.0 credits for Shadowbringers, 4.0? 5.0? The 0.0 credits for Shadowbringers though, and playing through I think at least 1.5 parts of patch content for it, I can see why people say this about A Realm Reborn, because compared to A Realm Reborn, Shadowbringers is the shit's tits, I was gonna say, but that's not a saying. Forget I said that. It's bloody fantastic. It had one of the most amazing dungeon experiences I've ever had in an MMO. Like, I was just stopping and literally audibly gasping at multiple points at like the scenery and stuff, and you'll see that in a future video if you watch those videos. The way I would say it, right, is I'm assuming Endwalker in this scenario is Endgame, but I would say Shadowbringers is Infinity War. And we all loved Infinity War. It was an amazing film. And when you go back and watch the Avengers after that, you think, it's obviously a good film, but it's a bit standard and boring compared to what Infinity War does. And I would say that is a comparison you can make between A Realm Reborn and Shadowbringers. Shadowbringers is Infinity War. A Realm Reborn, it's, well, maybe Heavensward is Avengers. Maybe A Realm Reborn is Captain America, the first Avenger. It's good stuff. It's entertaining. You're enjoying it. But when you go back to it later, knowing what comes after, it seems a bit plain in comparison. So just know that if you're going to go and give Final Fantasy XIV a try, A Realm Reborn is good stuff. And if there are moments where you get slightly bored with it, it's fine. Just picture it like a book that's good, that sometimes you go, oh, I'll put this down and pick it up again in a few days or whatever. Play it that way if you want. I mean, not to become the stereotypical walking advertisement, but there's a free trial where you can play all of A Realm Reborn and Heavensward without having to worry about time limits. It's literally just the first 60 levels of the game are free, no subscription or anything like that. There you go, I did my part, I did my marketing. But yeah, play it, you'll know whether you like it by the time you finish I would say the main Realm Reborn story. Like, some of the biggest hooks don't come until the patch content in A Realm Reborn, but if you bounce off of it hard, you'll know. And to be fair, it took me a couple of attempts, right? I didn't love it first time around. You can see it in my Adventures in Eorzea videos. The first video and a half is on a character called Goric Mundir on a different account that I just kind of got a bit bored with and didn't play again for a couple of years. And now look at me. Yeah, to elaborate a little bit more, I would say the thing that's so fantastic about Shadowbringers, one small part of it that's so fantastic, is that these characters you're playing with are characters that you have spent potentially hundreds of hours with. I forget what my game time is. It's something like a week, and I have done some alternative stuff with jobs, but not much. So I would say at least 4 or 5 days of that game time is just straight up me playing through the main scenario quest. So yeah, it's a grand undertaking. But the reward, the payoff, is that you get to know these characters so well, so intimately, that you'll be in a scene standing around a circle of characters and you will know each and every one of them so well. You will have spent so much time with them, you'll be familiar with them, and it's just a lovely feeling. Like, I've had that in JRPGs a couple of times too, where you just look at a circle of characters and you're just like, they're all so fleshed out and they're just so, it makes them a little bit more realistic because, they're just such a character. If that's the right way of saying that. So yeah, it's probably obvious by now, but all I've done this week literally is play Final Fantasy 14 in my free time. I think I might have played a couple of matches of Halo Infinite, maybe, but I'm not even sure about that. That might have been last week. I edited the Halo Infinite campaign, the first half of it. That's going to go up at some point. In terms of videos that are coming up in the future, it's going to be a lot of Final Fantasy from January onwards, but I've still got loads of clips of other games to turn into videos that I will do at some point, and I will weave them in between them as best I can, so that if you do not care about Final Fantasy 14, there will be content on this channel for you to enjoy, I hope. But as I mentioned the last few weeks, I've been getting back into scheduling videos ahead of time, and I think I'm up to early January with those video schedules now. I do have, like, I mean, last I checked it was 4 videos worth of Final Fantasy 14 clips. Now it's probably gone up to 6, or maybe even more. So I've got my work cut out for me. Obviously I've fallen behind on editing again because, again, all I've been doing is playing Final Fantasy. Now I would talk to you about what I'm assuming is the finale of A Wheel of Time, given how many people I suddenly saw talking about it, but Amazon Prime Video, the household sharing settings, decided to stop working, and I've tried everything on my end, and I've contacted Amazon customer support and all that, and it seems like we need to flag my dad's account as sharing information with me again, despite the fact that he's still got Prime and he hasn't changed any of his information. It's just decided to go blip, not working anymore for me. And yeah, I haven't really found a time to go and talk to him about that yet, so I haven't seen the Wheel of Time finale, which is really fucking annoying. Based on what I've seen online, I'm assuming it was quite good. The Witcher The Witcher season 2 is out as well, and I don't want to start on that until I finish Wheel of Time, you know, because that's 2 different fantasy worlds. I'll tell you what, it is a little bit difficult keeping it all straight in my head when I'm reading Wheel of Time. What's part of a book continuity? What's part of a show continuity? What parts of my subconscious are filtering in stuff from Final Fantasy's long fantasy universe, where I'm like, wait, hang on, no, different laws in this world. I'm a little bit too deep in fantasy right now. I can't remember if I talked about it before, but a few months ago maybe, I'd started watching through the original Star Trek. Obviously I slowed down on that because you haven't heard anything about it for a while. I did watch an episode the other day. It's, you know, it's old Star Trek. It's got its issues and it's got its merits. I don't really know why I brought it up, actually. I think I'm just fishing for things to talk about. So on that note, that aren't Final Fantasy. So on that note, I'm going to bring this episode to a close. Thank you for listening, especially on this one, considering I didn't have any gameplay, and I just rambled about mainly one thing. So I'll see you next week when hopefully I'll find a time to, you know, do a proper episode of these. And Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, because it is that time of year, isn't it? I definitely won't do another weekly Waypoint before Christmas, so hope you have a good one. Happy holidays and all that, ho ho ho.